Hi, and welcome to Creative Content Marketing Video Editing Part 1. In continuing our series, the next 3 installments will focus on video editing. And just as we did with audio, we'll just kind of cover some of the basics that are offered in video editing. Again, there's plenty of video editing tools out there. On the Mac side, you have iMovie and you have Final Cut. You also have Adobe Premiere, which is cross-platform. You can find it on the Windows platform, and then Windows itself has its own Windows Movie Maker. Again, just like most of the audio editing programs, the video editing programs have somewhat of the same layout. And if you can see here, we're in iMovie. And you can see you have the video screen, you have the track area, and then you have the library. And then down here, you can see you have the content library. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. With video editing, as in audio editing, you work with clips. And with the clips, you put together a full project. And if you go over here and just kind of get familiar with the layout, we'll start up here with the menu. If you want to start a new project, obviously, new movie. If you click on that, it'll bring up themes. With iMovie, since it's a little bit more consumer friendly, you can either choose to go with no theme, and then that allows you a little bit more creative freedom, or you can go with templates. And with each template, you can actually play it and kind of get an idea of what that template has to offer. And we'll talk a little bit more about the templates, but you see that they have kind of a formatted layout, which includes music. So all you really have to do is apply the clips. And you can see you can have a pretty wide sample of clips or themes to choose from. You can also do a shorter version. They have trailers. And again, just like the themes, the trailers as you can see, the trailers are somewhat similar to the themes, where it has the music, it has the clips already laid out, or the template's already laid out, and then all you have to do is supply the clips. And again, we'll go a little bit more into that. As far as I know, I think iMovie is the only video editing program that has that. Some of the more advanced editors like Final Cut, they do have samples, but they don't have basic layouts or themes that you can do, because it is more of a prosumer and professional editing program. Now, the other thing you can do is you can import media, which is your clips. And as you can see here, if I go through some of my library, you can see that I already have clips imported. These are pictures. And in addition to movie clips, you can also import, obviously, photos, you can import audio. So just as you did in some of the audio editing programs, you can import a variety of media to produce your video clip or your movies. So as you can see, you have a pretty wide selection to choose from. Again, it just depends on how many clips you have to work with in putting together your movie. Now, some of the other things obviously you can do is modify those clips, enhance, mute the clips. And then you can change the ways the clips are presented. So if we're going to get started here, just to see, let's say I already have the movie set up here. Let's say I want to import some media. So it brings up the import window. And then it has my movies folder on my computer. And then obviously you can go through each clip, take a look at the clips that you want to import for your particular project, and play them. So what I want to do is just do just a simple clip. So I'm just going to import this one. I'll just import a couple. All right, so you see the clips are imported. And I kind of like this one. So what you can do is you can select the clip. Now you can select either a part of it or you can select all of it. And then you just click and drag. As you can see, as you drag, the clip automatically gets added. And if I want to just test it, all right. Now the other thing, if you remember from the audio editing programs, is you can trim a clip, you can split a clip, just depending on where the cursor is. So let's say if we want to start right there and we want to trim the clip. There. So the clip has been split into two. And the reason I do this is just to kind of showcase transitions. So we have the clip split there. Now you have different transitions that, again, you can test. Basic cross dissolve, cross blur, fade to black, fade to white. So you have a couple different things to do. and you drag it. Okay, that one really didn't have too much of an effect, so let's go with something a little bit more. So that's basically a page curl. You can go with the ripple, you can go with the cross zoom. Now the other thing you can do is you can slow, fast forward. If you want to go faster, you want to go slower. This kind of slows the clip down. And really what I'm doing is just kind of showing some of the things, how easy it is to modify your clips. You can add a freeze frame. Say there was a clip in your video that you wanted to use as a focal point. If I wanted to add a freeze frame, it gives me that option. And again, it's nonlinear editing, so you can always undo what you did. Now the other thing you can do if you look up here, you have video and audio effects. You can these are basic effects, but you can change the way the clip is presented. Film grain, aged film. So if we wanted to add that. So now we have an effect going into and basically just like you can in photo editing. You can change color, you can modify the colors, adjust the colors. Just in case, again, the video that you took isn't quite what you were looking for in terms of quality. Now, obviously, the best thing to do is when you're shooting video is to shoot as high a quality video as possible. So that means obviously having enough light, planning out your video shoots, and making sure you're capturing enough footage to be able to be edited within the program. I mean, if you're familiar with Hollywood films, obviously they shoot tons of footage and then edit it down to a 2-hour movie. So most cameras have enough storage to where you're shooting video. Obviously, if you're shooting on a phone, it's somewhat different, but whatever you do is you want to try to shoot as enough footage as possible so you have that ability to be able to edit. Now, the other thing you could do is obviously overlay text. And again, just scrolling over it, the text can be animated, just depending on what you're looking for. So if we want to just do a pop-up. And from that, you can change the font. You can change the font size. You can put an outline on it. You can put a shadow. You can change the color. And then once you're happy with it, test it. And again, because you have layers, you can move it forward, backward within the video. You can shorten the length of how long it shows. Now let's say you wanted to add sound to it. You have a variety of sound effects to choose from that already come with the program. And again, when you're ready to use it, boom. And just like the title, you can move it forward, you can move it backwards. And even with the Mac platform, since everything is kind of tied in together, anything that you do in GarageBand, whether it's sound editing, sound design, or even creating your own soundtracks, since it's tied to GarageBand or tied to all your programs, you can pull in virtually any of the soundtracks that you've created.
Welcome to Trend.
So any of the soundtracks that you've created, you can pull into your project. It's even tied to iTunes. Now, obviously, there's copyright issues, but any of the songs that you do have in your iTunes library, you can pull into your project. Nice if you wanted to do something a little bit more elaborate, but obviously trying to post it on YouTube may run into copyright issues and not have that video posted, or you'll be asked to take it down. Just to let you know as an aside that YouTube does have its own video editor. It's an online video editing program, and it does have access to free sound effects and free soundtracks. And there are some professional and popular songs that you may be able to use. You'll be able to see them and see what kind of potential you have to use these programs by just clicking on them and seeing which songs are available to use and which ones are not. So you do have that option. And we'll take a look at that editing program, possibly at one of the other editions of our video editing webinars. So you can see that you have options. Now, if you did want to bring in something like a map, I've never used this, but obviously you have that option. Now, if you're going to do something, again, just the plain background, you do have just plain backgrounds that you can use and bring in. And again, scrolling over some of the more motion elements, you can see what they have to offer. So this is a basic and quick introduction to video editing. As you can see, some of the more consumer-friendly programs are pretty simple to use. A lot of it is drag and drop. And then the editing is just basically how do you want to go with? How do you want to lay out your program? And again, like I said, all this is nonlinear editing, so you can move things around. If you wanted to move this around here, you have that option. If you don't like it, you can always undo it. Everything is selectable and able to move to different positions in the project. Let's say you didn't want this. You can obviously delete that. It's as simple as that. And then when you're ready to share, you obviously have a couple of options. You can either email it. If you're hooked into Facebook or YouTube, if you're not signed in, you can sign in, and then it'll automatically upload it to your YouTube channel. Same with Facebook. Sign in, it'll upload to your profile or your page. And then if you just want to export it out, you can give it a description, you can change the title, and then you have options in terms of size. Obviously, the higher the resolution, the more options you give people to watch. So 1080, 720, that's high definition. So somebody's watching it from their desktop, or for whatever reason, if they're watching it from their TV through YouTube, the higher the resolution. Obviously, YouTube is starting to accept higher resolution videos. 4K, if you haven't heard, is the next gen of high definition television. Obviously, you need to shoot at that level. I don't think many of us, in terms of consumers, are at that level, but obviously they're planning ahead. But 720 or 1080 is probably what most people export their videos out and upload to YouTube. So you have that option. Now, obviously, if you just want to do something low key, or if you're going to send it through email, obviously you'll have the option. It will basically limit you to the smaller sizes. So that's basically iMovie and kind of an introduction to how most video editing programs will lay out your project. Going forward, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the more advanced video editing programs, and also look at some of the video clip suppliers that are out there. There's plenty of options to get professionally shot landscape or scenes, or even some of the more advanced and elaborate clips to make your project as professional looking as possible. Thanks for listening, and we'll be in touch.